guys, it is Tuesday, time for another episode of Anything But Average, Achieving Success in Life. And today I'm super happy. I'm always super happy, but I'm really happy today because Sharla, who is a good friend of mine, business owner, female business owner as well, is here with us today. And Sharla is in our office because she's our preferred insurance partner. So Sharla, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's so funny because y'all, she's just down the hall and a few offices away. So it's super cool though. But I can't even hear her. It's like she's in a whole It's awesome. Hey, Sharla, tell everybody, I want everyone to kind of learn a little bit about you. So tell everybody, first of all, how they can pronounce your last name. And then a little bit of backstory, like you're in insurance, but you are now out on your own. So where were you prior to opening your own insurance agency and kind of what led you to this?
Yeah. So last name is Pavle, not Pavel, not Polly, but Pavle. Yeah, I went from one dad's last name to another.
I would butcher it, you know?
Yeah, most people don't know. And yeah, I'm going into my 16th year in the industry. My last adventure was with a 26-year Allstate agent.
Wow.
Yeah, so when I moved here to Houston, I had tapped out of the industry for a while and decided to go back to work. And insurance has always been my comfort place. I've been doing it off and on for almost 16 years now. And so I went in, I led his sales team and managed his office. And through that experience, I finally realized that I wanted to do it on my own. To be completely honest, I was tired of making money for someone else.
Yep.
And I want to put my children through college and have all of those wonderful things that he had. And so I decided to open my own agency. One of the biggest deterrents of being an insurance agent is the captive side. And what I mean by that is, and it's for me, is working for an Allstate, a State Farm, or Farmers, one of those big companies, because you have to work within the guidelines and the limitations of what they have. They only have their product. And so you have to turn a lot of business away. And so it's a lot of missed opportunity. And I've always wanted to be a broker. But being a broker is a huge responsibility, as you would know.
Yep.
You have to wear many hats. There are lots of moving parts, and you have to bring it all together to make it work. And so that was kind of one of the deterrents. And my husband, coming from the mortgage industry, started referring business to a Goosehead agent. And he was like, Sharla, you need to meet this guy. The business model is amazing. You can write through, 25 plus carriers, and you'll never have to turn any business away. And the reason we had this conversation is because he was referring all of his business to him.
Right.
Instead of me with Allstate.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. So last year I decided to speak to him, and Goosehead is an amazing company. They have everything figured out for you in order to be a successful broker. They're very particular about the carriers that they allow you to write with. I can't just appoint myself with a new company without authorization from Goosehead. But I just kind of go within the guidelines of what they provide me, and they're all amazing companies.
So with Goosehead, just so everybody understands, and myself too, so is each, because you see a lot of Goosehead offices, so is each office independently owned? Is that how that works?
No.
Okay.
So if you see an office, I franchised. So I invested and I purchased my own agency.
Okay.
Now you have a lot of corporate agents. They vet these young business women and gentlemen out of college. I think it's such an honorable thing to do. And they're leading these young men and women in such a great direction, fresh out of college.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. And they, it's not just go get a license and you're off on your own. I mean, they work within the corporate office. Their corporate setting is just amazing. I was truly inspired by them when I went to go visit and learn about the company. So yes,
When you look at like insurance rates and things like that, State Farm has been around forever. All State Farmers, all the big guys, the big box ones, they've been around forever. But, in the real estate world, when we see those quotes come through, they're astronomical, usually way more than they should be. And we're like, oh my gosh, A, it causes them a lot of money in closing costs, and B, it increases their mortgage payment. And so with Goosehead, when you're shopping someone's insurance rates, you're basically not using anything like State Farm, Farmers, and Allstate, right? You have your own people.
Yeah, we now Allstate and Farmers right through some of the companies that I have access to.
Okay.
Sometimes they have limitations when it comes to a roof or acreage or animals on the property, etc. And they have some of these carriers that they can write through. So, the big guys sometimes are writing through these companies, so they're really good companies. But yeah, it's like Progressive and American Modern and Universal, Safeco, those types of companies. So they're all really good companies.
Okay.
Yeah, because they don't have the big name and they're not out there marketing and spending all that money and offsetting it onto the consumer.
Yeah.
They're able to offer competitive rates. So you're not walking away from anything but a big name.
And with insurance, it seems like just like in real estate, everyone knows the real estate agent, everybody knows an insurance agent. So it's about building relationships.
Definitely. And finding a good agent. I mean, you're going to find great agents and you're going to find awful agents no matter where you go. I'm sure that I don't mean to say this about Goosehead, but I'm sure there are some young agents that don't know as much as they should know and they're learning. But then you have some of these agents that if you have an agent that is telling you, hey, this is what you need, and with no rhyme or reason, walk away. You should be asking questions. You should know how your policy works for you and what you're getting. You're investing one of the largest investments in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Goosehead, do you do auto, home, and life too, or just home? Is it a whole thing? What do you do? Tell everybody.
I do. Now, one of the reasons I joined Goosehead is because I have no desire to touch a life policy. And I have the choice to do that. On the captive side, that is not the situation. You have to write so much auto, home, and life. And it's something I know quite a bit about, but just it takes a long time. So yes, I primarily write home, auto, and that includes rental properties, secondary homes, vacation homes, Airbnbs. I have access to commercial, but I do not specialize in that.
Okay.
So yeah, and I do know other Goosehead agents that offer or specialize in those areas.
So when you branched out on your own, that took a big leap. I mean, you didn't know COVID was right around the corner, but B, just anytime, not just women in business, but anybody starting a business, it's challenging. There's things you don't know, and it's financial expenses coming in that you don't know about. And so for you, what was your biggest thing that you were afraid of when you were going to do this?
Not being successful. Truly, I know that I'm capable and I'm able and I have all of the knowledge and know-how, but I think every human being has a little bit of self-doubt. So it was truly just making sure that that I was successful. I mean, I don't know how else to explain that and if that sounds right, but there's just something when you know that you have to be your own driving force. And that is so scary to know that you have to push yourself to get up every morning and to get out there and you may want to lay in bed because it's your business, you do whatever you want to do, but just to get out there and just grind.
Because you left like a comfortable life, where you had your steady income coming in to go off on your own where you are in charge of your income.
Yeah. And with COVID, that's kind of changed everything. And the proof is in the pudding. I have always said that insurance is recession proof, and it is. Everybody, doesn't matter what's going on, you have to have insurance for your car, you have to have insurance for your home. And if you don't, they're going to force place it on you, and it's going to cost you a boatload of money. So I may not have grown as fast as I would like to, but I have continuously grown.
You're doing amazing.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. I have no regrets.
Okay, so I have a question. Normally we take questions, but I have one because a lot of people, like I've been in real estate forever, but there's always different things that come up with insurance. And so flood insurance, of course, because of Harvey, is a huge concern. And it seems like different areas all of a sudden are in different flood zones. There's different amounts for flood insurance. I had a lady call me the other day, and her flood insurance quote was like $1,000 higher. And of course, then I reached out to him like, help me out here. So explain to everybody and to me, why are there such different rates in flood insurance? Is it based on the house? Is it based on the person? How is it determined?
So you have 3 different products. Now, if you're not in a flood zone, first of all, rates should be based off of how much your home's insured for. As far as coverage, when you're seeking an amount of coverage, it should be based off of how much coverage you have on that deck page. Hopefully you're adequately covered so that we can determine how to insure you. Now, if you're not in a flood zone, as many people in Houston are not, and they flooded, there are preferred risk rates, and that's provided by the NFIP, and it starts at about $20,000 of coverage and goes up to $250,000 max.
Okay.
And that's what I recommend. So if you fall within one of those brackets, it goes to like 20, 40, 60, 80, etc.
Okay.
And if you're not in a flood zone, that's ideal for you. It ranges from, I wrote it down, about $193 a year to $516.
Okay.
That's a small price to pay for a huge peace of mind.
Yeah.
Because it can happen, right?
So if you're not in the flood zone, $516 a year is the max right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's one conception, and that's the max just with the NFIP for those preferred risk rates.
Okay.
And this is what's huge is a lot of insurance agents will just push an amount. Well, what amount do you want? Here's my list. But then they don't explain that if you, based off of how much your home is worth, you fall within brackets. You need to select the amount that meets that amount on your dwelling. So let's say you have a $225,000 home. Mm-hmm. There's an option for $200,000 and $250,000.
Okay.
You need to select the higher option to get full replacement on the reconstruction of your home.
Okay.
If you do not, and a loss occurs, they will depreciate the value of your home. And that's what we saw a lot of during Harvey, that these policies were not explained and people lost a lot of money when it came to reconstruction on their homes.
I bet.
The biggest criteria there, and then no more than 2 losses within 10 years. You qualify for that in an X zone. There's also excess flood. So if you're like, hey, well, I have a $600,000 home. I'm not in a flood zone. I like that 516, but I want more coverage. Then we can seek more coverage on top of that.
Okay.
And then the next is private flood. Private flood.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, they don't require elevation certificates. And sometimes they're more affordable. And you can get up to $2 million in coverage.
So are you able to write one of those policies?
I can. Okay. So I have access to so many different types of policies. You know, this is a bit of a learning curve for me too. So I'm kind of finding some of this out and what are the products that I have available. But a lot of the reasons, like your client, you'll see a huge fluctuation is one person has an elevation certificate and one doesn't. So without that really important information, the rates will be through the roof because you could be deemed in a flood zone just because the back left end of your property is in a flood zone.
Okay.
And so when you get that elevation certificate, we plug that information in and the rates plummet. Now without it, they're like, hey, you're in a flood zone and you don't want to spend the money on an elevation certificate, then we're going to charge you for it.
So everybody knows, tell everybody what an elevation certificate is, please.
So an elevation certificate is when you hire a company to come out and do a survey and they measure the grading of the land from your property line all the way across. I mean, it's pretty detailed. It's pretty simple. I would tell you how much it costs, but I don't have that information in front of me. It's affordable. And here's one thing, since I'm speaking to a realtor, you can transfer ownership of a policy from a seller to a buyer. That is one of the easiest transactions. Oh, I don't have the elevation certificate anymore. Well, me as the buyer, I don't want to pay for that.
Right.
Well, then let's get them together. You transfer that policy, whatever the difference is on that policy, let's charge it or on your transaction. I don't know through the process of the loan, if you can provide a credit to the homeowner.
Sure.
Or the seller, excuse me. But that's the only time that you can do that. Actually, there are quite a few times, but it has to be a sale, a death, etc. Um,
So on that note, so oftentimes when there's flood insurance but it's a negotiating thing all the time. Oftentimes deals fall apart because of an elevation certificate. And I think people need to keep in mind about when you're saying private insurance for flood insurance. So if somebody was to go and get flood insurance through you and get a private policy, is it the same kind of coverage? Is it just as good?
so I missed a lot of what you were saying, but I just got that part. Our internet disconnected.
Oh,
So it is good, but there is a risk. So know this. This is very important. A lot of, depending on the type of loan that you're obtaining, they will not allow you to go through a private provider. So that's why it's really important that if you're required to have flood, if there's a requirement, you need to speak with your lender. And depending on if it's an FHA, a VA, conventional, whatever type of loan, they'll say you are required to have a policy that's provided through the NFIP. You cannot have private because it's federally backed. So it's really important to speak to your lender about that and see if there's an issue with you going private. Did that answer your question? Because I didn't get the front end of it.
But that's such a huge thing. Every real estate agent out there listening needs to pay attention to that because it's a solution perhaps to a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
like I said, if you're not in the zone, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So then it's just optional.
Yeah. If it's optional, you can obtain whatever you like. I recommend, the preferred risk rates because they're cheap and it's I don't mean to say cheap because that's awful, but it's true. It's a small price to pay, like I said, for a huge peace of mind, especially in this area.
Yeah. So are you with your insurance agency, are you focusing just on our local Katy Fulshear area? Are you expanding? How are you going out and growing your business?
So I primarily focus
internet connections.
I know you're a little delayed, so I don't know how this is coming across to everyone else. I am primarily in the lower region of Texas. I come from the Dallas area, so I've written business in North Texas as well, so I know the area. And so, but I do primarily focus on South Texas, Houston, Fulshear, Cypress. I try to stay away from the coast, but I have lots of products down there as well. I know a lot about wind and all that fun stuff. Flood comes with it. So if you have clients that have, vacation homes and live waterfront, we have products available. Yeah.
Can you write policies outside of Texas?
Not at this moment, I cannot. I do have the option, though, with Goosehead to become licensed in multiple states. So yeah, yes, I know. I mean,
so is that something that you're thinking of doing in your future?
Yeah, I do. The neat thing about insurance is, especially when it's in the surrounding area, like Arkansas, Oklahoma, a lot of times the risk is the same. So it's pretty simple to become licensed in those states and just kind of do a little bit of licensing to figure out the difference from state to state. But they're very similar. So yes, I'm looking to take over.
Who do you think is your best source of business? Would it be real estate agents?
Yes. So I love lenders. Lenders are great because they always have a need. But a lot of times lenders are, and I love them, but they're kind of rushed in the situation. It's just not like, they're like, I don't really care. Just get something. But I feel like there's more relationship building between the homeowner and the realtor, and that it's really important. So I feel like creating those relationships with realtors that you can build the referral is just greater. These people look to you to find them their dream home. And if they're that confident in that, they're pretty confident in taking your recommendation for home insurance as well. So those are usually pretty.
So if somebody out there that's listening is thinking of going into insurance, whether they're here locally or in any other state, what do you think is a couple of key points you could tell them that maybe you wish you would have done differently or you would have changed that could help them?
I would have started sooner. I would have definitely, I would have jumped the bandwagon 10 years ago, 5 years after I knew, like, if you love people and you love to educate, and you like to help, I always wanted to be a teacher, but I just don't have enough patience for kids. This is the next best thing, you get to inform and educate and lead and guide, and you also get to, you'd be surprised what people tell their insurance agent. It's kind of like going to the salon. So yeah, I would just say if you decide that you love it, jump on board, embrace it, and don't look back. Just go for it, because you have nothing to lose at all. Yeah.
No.
That's what I would say.
No. So for you, what are you hoping what is one of your goals for the end of 2020? What are you hoping you'll do for this year?
End of 2020, it's a really high goal. But I think I can get there, especially with COVID. My initial goal was to end the year with a $20,000 month. And that's huge with Goosehead. And I'm talking about $20,000 in my pocket.
Love it.
That's one of my biggest goals. And I'm shooting for it. If I can hit that, then I can do anything. Yeah. So that's my goal.
Not if you can, when you can, because you
can.
To.
Maybe you'll do it sooner.
100%.
I don't have a car to go.
You want to help her.
I'm sorry?
We got to help you.
Yes, please help me. You already have, and I'm looking forward to this relationship. I think it's great. We can help each other. Obviously, you help my business grow, but I think the benefit of having an insurance agent in the office is also you being your client feeling like, wow, they're really taking care of me. Not only have they found me a home, but they found me a great agent, saved me a ton of money. So yeah, we do have a bit of a delay. I do apologize.
I don't know what's going on. It's our internet, y'all. It's getting fixed. Hey, Sharla, tell everybody how they can find you. What's the best place? Number one, any real estate agent out there, if you guys have questions about elevation certificates, if it's needed, about private pay insurance, flood insurance, anything like that, or just want to talk to Sharla about the insurance rates, what is she seeing in the future because of COVID and all of that, just reach out to her. Sharla, what's the best way for them to find you?
You can either go to Goosehead. You can Google Sharla Pavle Goosehead Fulsher. I also have a Facebook page. That's Goosehead Sharla Pavle. I do have a microsite. Not really sure what that is. And you can email me. Isn't that awful? I've tried to figure it out a few times. I'll get it figured out. But the easiest way is to either email me or give me a call. Do you want my phone number?
What's your phone number?
833-602-3700. And you can email me at sharla.pavle@goosehead.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today, Sharla.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.